This is Jim Ware. I'm speaking this afternoon with Susan Stucky, who's the author of a fascinating article in Work&Place issue number 10. The article is called Bots and the Workplace, but it's really about conversation, about the way we are increasingly engaging with and interacting with computers of all kinds through our voices, through conversations. Susan was at Xerox PARC for many years. She's a longtime student of work and the workplace and the sociology of work. She was at Xerox PARC, then at the Institute for Research on Learning, and she spent many years as an IBM researcher as well. Susan, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Jim, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Could you tell me a little bit about how your interest in conversation got started?
Well, two things. I think I was thinking about this when you told me ahead of time that we might be talking about this, and there are two reasons. One is that I was looking at all this chatbot stuff and trying to figure out what was going on, and it struck me that it was conversational in form, but that so far as I could tell, nobody had taken advantage of a great deal of what was known about conversation. So it seemed to me odd that we didn't take that more seriously. And that was sort of the opening gambit. I am a linguist way back, and I've done a lot of work practice analysis with colleagues and friends and studied that. And of course, conversation plays a huge role in those encounters, whether it's on the phone or via video or in Second Life or, wherever it is. I mean, conversation, how many conversations do we have a day? I mean, it's the most prevalent. But the most important thing to me, maybe, is that I've been persuaded by my work in service science and service dominant logic that a good way to think about how value is created is to think about it being created in interaction with between and among people, between and among people and their technologies, etc. So the thing to study is the quality of the interaction itself. And that's where the clue is to what value is being co-created at the time. And we like to talk about, delivering value and all the rest of that stuff. But I think there's part of this picture we've been missing. So those were both the reasons. I'd like to think that we are changing to treat our technologies more, especially our smart technologies and all the AI, more as participants in the work and not just automating our work, not just acting as our assistants, right? But actually they have agency, they know things we don't, they can do things we can't. And it seems to me it's silly to relegate them to the side or to excuse the humans out of the picture. And that would be nice if essential, I will say, if we interacted with them as participants. And we can go back and repair our conversations. I look at you, and if you look puzzled, I sometimes offer a something to clear it up or whatever I think it is, or ask you a question. But I think our tools, they will make mistakes too. And how do we, when they make mistakes, is there a way for us to signal or ask for more time? That's all very fluid in our conversations. We don't even notice we're doing that. We're managing it quite well. I think the deep reason is we're not as smart as we think we are. We rely on our context in some ways physically, in the way that we used to talk about piles of paper on our desk. It was a signal to us. We knew where we were. We knew what the work was. It was a tangible artifact, right? We also rely on our screens. We rely on our technology to do all that. Now, we also have context as in what went before. What did we talk about? What are the papers we've read? What is all that about? And whether or not we are in the dentist's office or whether we are, in a boardroom, those things signal to us a lot of social norms about how to behave. Now, are our AI partners getting any of that subtlety? Do we know what they know, right? So for instance, here's a far out one, but if you're talking to a chatbot, I think one of the interesting, one of the points that I made in the paper was about whether or not, you knew that the chatbot, or even a real person on the other end, knew about the problem that made you call. So when you call in on a call center call, you usually have something that's wrong and you want it fixed and you want to understand how to fix it, so on and so forth. How much does that chatbot know about, what you've already tried, where you are in it? I mean, we've only recently been able to train people to actually ask that, or get the people who design the conversations to allow that to be asked. Okay, so what have you tried? And I don't know if that's being designed into chatbot. That sensibility is being designed, but that's the kind of context. It can be very local. It could be very large, as in a company, the culture of the company. But I know in one interaction with a call center, I said, "Are you a chatbot?" And he said no, and I thought, well, maybe he's trained to say no. I said, "No, really, I want to know, are you a chatbot?" No. And then, but he went back into this script mode, and it was just very hard to tell from that it was a real person. And it was very hard to engage him in any kind of conversation. So, so I think so, yes. But I think the most important thing, there's an ethical and moral dilemma associated with this, of course, which we're only beginning to think about, and not enough, in my opinion. I don't think it's a very good idea for us not to know if what we're talking to is not, is a bot, or whether it's human. I just think we should know that. We shouldn't, because we know things about these systems. We know they can go awry, just in the way we know about people. Certain people are unreliable about certain things, and they're wonderful about others. It should be the same here. So we should know that it's that kind of a being, if it's a being, and proceed accordingly. So actually signaling that is an interface design that I think.
I wonder if we'll get to some point, the point where we have requirements of on-screen labels, the way we do with products, for example, ingredients or something.
Right, brands.
That's to me
have the brand.
That kind of requirement. Yeah.
Yeah, something that indicates that. Yeah. It doesn't mean. I mean, I sometimes really like interacting with a bot if it's actually right on, and it's just like I didn't have to wait on the phone. I didn't have to, whatever. I can ask another question. I don't have to feel like I don't have to be polite.
Yeah, we become dependent on these things. It becomes part of our life.
Well, we become dependent on all of our tools. I'm dependent on my refrigerator. I mean,
well, good point. Absolutely.
It's not so surprising. And also, I think it goes along with the observation that we offload a lot of our cognition. We use things in our environment as part of our cognition. Sometimes it's called distributed cognition. And I think we're not very aware of that. We're pretty clever, actually. But take that phone away and you can't operate. Take that refrigerator and it's hard to get the meal that you want.
Very good point. There are all kinds of technologies that we're surrounded with every day that we don't even think of as technology, whether it's an electric light or a dishwasher, refrigerator, things that have been around forever.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it was Alan Kay who said once, any technology that's invented more than 5 years after you were born is a miracle. The point being that if you come into the world with this stuff, it's just part of the world you've come into.
Exactly.
Take care. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.